So Cade Cunningham and Jalen frickin' Duren, Team USA, man, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little surprised that Team USA lost to the select team twice, just because Team USA is. They're a pretty veteran squad. Outside of Walker Kessler and Paolo Banchero, they don't really have too many. And Anthony Edwards, but Anthony Edwards is like what, a third, going into his fourth year playing pro basketball. But the rest of these guys, it's a pretty veteran squad. And then the select team, made up of pretty much first and second year players. And you had a couple guys that didn't even play last year. Cade got 12. Chet Holmgren was out for the season, and they beat him. I don't know what the final score was. I tried watching the game, but like I was telling you, the game was locked when I tried to go and watch it on YouTube. But yeah, Team Select. I just want to say this too. Like Cade Cunningham, he just looked freaking phenomenal. And I loved that everybody else, it seemed like on Team Select, they were letting him take charge. They knew he was the point guard, and they knew, let's let him lead it. Let's let him run the offense, because we might come out with a win if he does that. That's what it felt like watching. It kind of felt like everybody was looking to him to lead the squad, and he did it. He showed up, and he looked like a franchise player with a bunch of other franchise players. He looked like the top dog, and that was pretty cool for me to watch. But what are your thoughts on that game, man?
So I did look up the scores because I did watch the video before. I think it was Ball is Life I sent you.
Yeah.
Before they kind of made it private, apparently, which they probably did that because everyone just clipped it and put it on YouTube and Twitter. They probably got pissed off. But the first game, Cade played a little bit, but they still won. The second game, where he was in most of the game, they won 27-18 or 19. And Cade just looked like the way he played, in his pace and the way he controlled that whole second game, he looked like the best player on the court.
Oh,
Like
100%. Oh, go on.
Yeah, like he just looked like he was in so much control. He didn't look like he missed any type of time. Like that leg looks like he never even had that shin injury at all. He just looks so complete, and the amount of chemistry him and Jalen Duren have is so surprising because they barely got the play last season, and I absolutely love it, man. Like the lobs that he was throwing to Duren, little lobs he was throwing to Jalen Green, which I absolutely love because I happen to like a lot of players on the Houston Rockets. I've told you that before. Like
Yeah.
they always draft guys that every year, like this year it was Cam Whitmore. I was just like, dude, every freaking year you can expect the Houston Rockets to draft someone that I want. But getting back to that select scrimmage, dude, I absolutely love it. I just love that he's back. He's 100% healthy, and he's dominating.
And I liked how he, depending on who's defending him, how he switched up the game. It was, whether it was Jaren Jackson Jr., he was getting him on his toes, like basically on his heels, and attacking the rim. We saw a couple highlights like that. And then it was Mikal Bridges defending him, and he was using his size to back him down when he was bringing the ball up the floor. And then a few times Jalen Brunson was switched on him, and he used his size again to go down low. Like, it was just almost a master class from a big guard, just picking apart a defense. Like, no matter what you threw at him, he had a counterattack. It was phenomenal. I thought it was great from Cade, and it seemed like, you were right. It seemed like he had been playing all of last year. I was super impressed, but what kind of hope did those highlights give you for this upcoming season?
The duo with Jalen Duren and Cade Cunningham, man, like that could be a scary 1-5 punch. Like I can already envision, pick and rolls, lob threats, dribble handoff action with Jalen Duren, which I did want to kind of talk about Jalen Duren for a couple of minutes. He is just so smart as a basketball player. Like I was telling you last week, I think we haven't even seen what he's capable of, but like just some of the stuff he was, pulling off going against, grown men, like good centers in the league, like Walker Kessler, Jaren Jackson Jr., who he's not like really a center, but former defensive player of the year. Like he was going up against like great players and, holding his own. Like, I'm so excited. But to get back to your question, like, dude, just pure dominance I could see coming out the gate with those two. Like, it just gets me excited. It's a duo that I think we're gonna see a lot of.
So real quick on Jalen Duren, he flashed some post moves. It wasn't just him catching lobs or getting easy dunks. He was using his strength, using his body to clear some space. He was pulling down some tough rebounds against Bobby Portis, Jaren Jackson Jr., Walker Kessler, any big man they threw at him. He made his presence felt very, like, he made it known who he was. And I think it maybe caught a couple of guys sleeping. Maybe they didn't think he would play with that much energy or that kind of motor, but he was equally as dominant as Cade, just in a different way. I mean, I didn't see too many defensive highlights from him, but from just a pure offensive standpoint, the dude was getting buckets and pulling down boards and not letting anybody intimidate him. Like, it almost seemed like he was the intimidator. And when Cade and Jalen were working in that two-man game, I know some people are going to hate when I say this, but it was kind of like a Penny Hardaway and Shaq almost combination out there, you know? I'm not saying Jalen Duren is Shaquille O'Neal. It's just that little two-man game they had going between each other, like with the big guard and the big athletic center that, I mean, like I said, he has a grown man's body. He looks like baby Dwight Howard out there. So that was pretty cool to see those two. I thought it was, I don't want to say reminiscent, but you're like, man, dude, a big guard and a big athletic center working together, Penny and Shaq. That was pretty cool.
You know what's funny, though? Oh, I just want to talk for maybe like a couple more minutes, then we can move on to the next topic. I was thinking, like, when's the last time the Pistons have had a dominant, 1-5 punch, a point guard and center punch? And I was thinking, I was like, man, it was Reggie Jackson and Andre Drummond when Van Gundy was here. When, Reggie Jackson would, just wait for Drummond to come around the perimeter, and then Andre would set those hard screens, and then it was just lob action. And they had like a top 5 pick and roll at one point of their career in Detroit. And I think Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren can do that. I just think Cade Cunningham, I think, is a better player than Reggie Jackson. I think he's a better passer, and I think he makes passes and plays where you're like, dude, how the hell did he make that? And I think Jalen Duren, 19 by the way, still,
yeah,
like, his IQ is off the charts. Like, some of the plays that he makes, you're like, I didn't know you had that in your bag. Like, holy shit! Like, I haven't even seen half of what you're capable of. But that's just kind of the rant I wanted to go off. Like, we really haven't seen a point guard center duo since like Reggie and Andre, and that was a while ago.
Yeah, I was thinking you were going to go back and say like Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer, but I don't. I wasn't even born when those two were dominating the NBA, winning championships. I mean, I was born their second championship. But anyways, it's going to be fun to watch this year. It really is. And another thing I was taking away from the game was Cade Cunningham's manipulation when he has the ball, because every defender, it seemed like they were watching him, but they didn't know what he was going to do. Like, they were almost always expecting him to attack or get a shot up. But even when he did that, he was throwing like a nice lob, whether it was to Jalen Green or to Jalen Duren or somebody else, like just making a nice, perfect pinpoint dime to people cutting to the basket. And I just felt like he was throwing defenders off, and that's what we're going to see all throughout next season. Like, he just seems like, even though he's not the most athletic and he doesn't explode off the screen when you watch him play, it's that manipulation, it's the ball control, and it's the patience that he plays with. It's like I said earlier, it's like a masterclass of how to play the point guard position.
He's so cerebral, the way he plays. Like, he waits for the play to come to him, and then he just takes advantage of it.
Yeah.
Like, he's not out of control, and he just waits until there's an opening, and when the opening is there, he takes full advantage of it. That's what I've just noticed since we've drafted him in Team USA scrimmages. But I'm so happy he's back, man. He looked like the old Cade Cunningham, end of his rookie season when he was, putting up 24 points a game. And I'm so happy for him.
There was another thing, too, where it kind of reminded me of Dwayne Wade, not of how they played. Well, I guess kind of how they played, where Dwayne Wade was he would almost take a back seat to everybody else and let them get theirs. Then he knew how to pick his spots and when to take over. You saw a little bit of that with Cade Cunningham in those scrimmages. It was really cool to watch. And probably my favorite part that came from this scrimmage was all of the other people walking back their Cade comments recently, like, you know, saying where he would go in a redraft or what tier he falls in, or, you know, the injury was going to be hard for him to come back from. We haven't seen enough from Cade. I get that the Pistons have been bad. They won 32 games the last 2 years, maybe 17, or maybe even just 40 games, right, or touch under. I get that they were bad, but people that watch the Pistons and especially watch those 72 games that Cade played in, we knew we know what the Pistons have in him. We know what he's capable of doing. And it was only his rookie year and just 12 games into his second. We saw it. That's why it was bothering so many of us when we would read those tweets or those posts or those other things on social media talking about Cade Cunningham. But I'm glad that he showed out in the scrimmage and got people talking in a more positive light about him. It was pretty cool.